Here's something that makes no sense until you understand the wiring. Ben Franklin had a political rival who despised him. This counterpart publicly mocked him and wanted him destroyed. Franklin didn't fight back. He didn't apologize. He didn't try to win the man over with charm. He asked him for a favor. He borrowed a rare book. The rival lent it. Franklin returned it with a warm note of thanks. And something impossible happened. The rival became his friend. Not just friendly, but an actual ally for life. Franklin wrote about it in his autobiography, calling it a method he used with success. He didn't know why it worked, only that it did. 200 years later, psychologists figured out the mechanism. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. It explains corporate dynamics. It explains boardroom negotiations. It explains why the people you do the most for sometimes value you the least. And why the person who once did you a small favor now defends your name in rooms you've never been in. This is the Ben Franklin effect. And it is one of the most quietly powerful forces in human psychology that hears the counterintuitive core. We assume that we do favors for people we like, that the feeling comes first and the action follows. Liking comes before helping. The Ben Franklin effect proves the opposite is also true. Doing a favor for someone can create the feeling of liking them. The action can manufacture the emotion. Why? Because the human brain despises inconsistency. This is cognitive dissonance, and it is relentless. When your behavior and your beliefs don't match, your brain doesn't just accept it. It changes one to fit the other. Picture this. Someone does you a favor. Let's say they lend you $20. At that moment, their brain is holding two facts. Fact one, I just gave this person money. Fact two, I don't particularly care about this person. Those two facts clash. The brain can't tolerate the clash, so it resolves it the easiest way possible, by upgrading its opinion of you. The brain decides it must like this person because otherwise, why would it have lent the money? The rationalization happens after the action. The brain writes the story backward to justify what the hands already did. This isn't manipulation theory. This has been rigorously tested. In a famous university study, researchers had participants win money in a contest. Then a researcher approached some of them and asked for the money back, explaining the lab was low on funds. Others were approached by a secretary who simply took the money back. No ask, no favor. Later, everyone rated how much they liked the researcher. The ones who gave the money back voluntarily rated the researcher significantly higher. The act of doing the favor created the affection. The ask was everything, but before we look at how to apply this in your career, we need to look at the dark side of this mechanism, because it explains why so many ambitious people end up burned out and unappreciated. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. This effect doesn't just explain how to build high-value alliances. It explains something darker about human nature. We don't just rationalize our favors. We rationalize our sacrifices, our investments, our sunk costs. The more someone has done for you, the more their brain is committed to the narrative that you are worth it. But flip it around. The more you do for someone, the more your brain commits to the narrative that they are worth it. This is why unrequited effort is so sticky. This is why people stay in one-sided professional relationships for years, over-delivering for a boss who never promotes them. Your brain isn't tracking objective fairness. It is tracking your own behavior and reverse engineering the justification. You tell yourself you wouldn't keep covering those extra shifts if the company wasn't special. You wouldn't have loaned that colleague your expertise if they weren't trustworthy. Your brain protects your ego by inflating the other party's value. Every favor you do deepens your own trap. The Ben Franklin effect is a two-way street, and most professionals are driving it the wrong direction. They think if they do enough for a client or a boss, that person will finally see their value. No, you're building your own prison. You're manufacturing your own attachment while giving them no mechanism to manufacture theirs. The person doing the favor is the one whose brain changes, not the person receiving it. Now that we understand the trap, let's talk about how to use this as a tool for strategic growth. First, understand the parameters. The favor has to be real. It has to cost something: time, effort, social capital, or money. If it's too small, there's no dissonance to resolve. If it's too large, it triggers resentment, not rationalization. The sweet spot is meaningful but not burdensome. Second, the ask has to be specific and personal. Asking for general help is weak. Asking a senior leader, "You understand this specific market better than anyone I know. Could you look at this strategy for 2 minutes?" is strong. It signals that you see their competence. It flatters without flattery, and it gives their brain a clear action to rationalize. Third, and this is critical, you have to receive it well. Gratitude is the catalyst. If you brush off the favor, you rob them of the chance to resolve their dissonance. You have to let them feel like they made a difference. The thank you isn't just politeness. It is part of the psychological machinery that end business. This is why junior employees who ask senior leaders for small, specific advice end up getting promoted first. The leader thinks they're just mentoring, but psychologically, they're investing their own ego in the junior employee's success. Now you're their person. They have equity in your success. Franklin didn't know the science, but he understood the architecture. He understood that human beings aren't rational creatures having emotional experiences. We are emotional creatures having rationalizing experiences. And if you hand someone the right behavior, their brain will hand you the right feeling. Let me be direct about what this isn't. This isn't a license to exploit people. The mechanism only works when the favor is genuine, the gratitude is real, and the relationship builds toward mutual value. If you treat people as cognitive dissonance machines to be hacked, you will be detected. Humans are exquisitely sensitive to being used. The Ben Franklin effect amplifies authentic connection. It doesn't substitute for it. Also, this isn't about never doing favors yourself. Reciprocity still matters. The healthiest professional relationships have bidirectional investment. The insight isn't to never give. The insight is to stop overgiving to people who haven't invested in you and to stop being afraid to ask. The people who struggle most with this are the ones who think asking is a weakness, who believe they have to earn everything through self-sacrifice, who show up to every relationship with both hands full of gifts and an empty mouth that never asks. You aren't building connection that way. You're building obligation. And obligation is the opposite of affection. Ben Franklin lived in a world of quill pens and powdered wigs. But he stumbled onto something timeless, something wired into the operating system of the human mind. We become what we do, and we come to love what we've done for that SO. If there's someone you want closer in your network, a colleague, a mentor, a peer who could become a strategic ally, consider the counterintuitive move. Stop calculating what you can do for them. Start considering what you can ask of them. Not a burden, a bridge, a small, specific request that signals trust and invites investment. And when they say yes, and they usually will because most professionals are flattered to be asked, receive it fully. Let them feel the weight of their own generosity. Their brain will do the rest. That Franklin's rival didn't decide to like him. Franklin's rival lent him a book, and the rest was inevitable. That's the Ben Franklin effect. Use it wisely. I'm curious, what's one small favor you could ask of a colleague or mentor this week to start building that bridge? Let me know in the comments. I read the... Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.